liking practice, you know. I mean, I thought we made a couple mistakes at the end, and sustaining things, but we have 10 guys that are going at each other pretty good now, and I think guys are wearing down a little bit. I think we're totally sick of playing against each other. You know, I was wondering about that, and everybody mentioned that, you know, you always get sick of playing against each other, but what you don't realize is these last 5-6 years, you got all the summer, and then now we're starting on the 20-something of September. So it just seems like longer and longer and longer you're playing against the same people. I mean, sometimes we get sick of coaching them, they get sick of being coached, and they get sick of the same guys. So we have a little bit of that, and that's why, you know, adjustment to make. Maybe next year, exhibition game a little early because of what happens in college ball now. But we're here where we are. Got the green-white scrimmage on Saturday. It'll give us a chance to get up and down, referees, kind of figure some things out. Then Wednesday, we got a game, and then Sunday we got a game. So I like how it's all kind of shaking out right now.
So that brings the question. Why put the public scrimmage on? Why? You haven't done that in a long while.
I haven't done it in a long while because just trying to keep continually dragging this whole place together. More people that can get around. That's the reason why. And I want these guys to get used to playing in front of people too. And I want to get used to, we're going to coach them Saturday. It's not going to be a think around thing like it was on Midnight Madness, where guys are going to get coached on Saturday. So we'll see how the young freshmen respond to getting some coaching.
Will it sort of be ones versus twos, or we split the team up in kind of a weird way or anything? Or?
Yeah, no, you know, that's a good question. We haven't even talked about it yet. And the only reason I say that is what I like to do is I'm continuously looking at different lineups and who plays well with who. So we might go one half one way and one half another way, but there's no rhyme or reason. I'm not trying to trick anybody or anything. It's just we just keep getting guys to play with each other.
You mentioned the freshmen. There's a lot of exciting prospects with them. And obviously this is a very seasoned team, or veteran team, but how does this freshman class just bring to the previous
You know,
classes?
it's really been good. Every one of them's got a efficiency and a deficiency. What I mean by that is, you know, Book is very skilled, but got to learn to play hard. Got to be in the best shape of his life. Got to get stronger. Cohen is very strong, very athletic. He's got to continue to get better with his shot. I would say Garrick has been hurt a little bit lately. Strength really affects him like Book. He's got to get stronger, but he's been shooting the lights out in the last couple of weeks. And Jeremy is probably the most polished of them all. Runs a team, knows how to play, and he's got to keep improving his shooting. But where does it rank? I don't know. You know, it's too early. I'll tell you after a couple of games.
Obviously, you don't want any injuries heading into the year, but with Jackson, how much better do you feel about that position, just depth-wise, heading into this season?
Well, I mean, you know, we do have more depth right now, and that helps. But Jackson was playing really well, so it bothers me because he's in great shape. He's been playing real well, but I'm excited that it's now, not later. You know, he'll miss a couple of games early, more like Malik did maybe. But I think in general, by Christmas he should be ready to go full go. So. Yeah, you never want injuries, but if they have to happen, I'd rather it now than in the middle of the season.
What happened to Jackson?
He's got like a stress reaction on his foot. He had a little surgery just to make sure that they put a pin in there like they do. But so he'll be out 6 to 8 weeks.
What comes next for that position? You obviously got Marty there, but how do you kind of juggle that rotation?
Well, Marty and Carson, you know, will be there, and Malik and Book will be there, and Cohen can play a lot of different positions. So, you know, I don't know how we'll juggle it. It just depends on how they play. That's why we want these scrimmages to see how they play in games, see how they play in front of people. So I'm excited about it. Really,
It gets to test your depth down there that you maybe didn't have.
yeah. You know, the hardest thing about practice is, as you saw the scores, they're semi-evenly matched in a lot of ways. You know, one team probably has more talent, and one team has more experience. And so it's been there's not a lot of easy shots. The defense has been pretty good. There's not a lot of easy shots, and sometimes that makes the practice look worse. We go up watching on film and we say, God, we're playing hard, and that's half the battle.
Is Booker the main guy you're looking at before beyond Malik, or are there other guys who could do that spot there?
I don't know. I mean, we're going to look at Booker, of course. We look at Booker at the 4 and 5, but we could look at Carson, played some 4 last year. And I think, the beauty of Cohen is he can play the 3 or the 4, and he's strong enough to be a Brandon Dawson-like 4-man, and he's sleek enough to, be one of those 3 men that can really run and do some things. So, it's really the least of my worries right now. I'm not worried. Everybody's worried about how you're going to play them all. I'm worried about how they play. that usually takes care of itself. They'll figure out what they got to do. If they do it, they'll play. If they don't do it, it's not a bad seat on the bench.
With the Scrimmage, why is it important for you guys to play against or play with the fans in attendance for you guys?
Well, number one, it's always good to play in front of fans, especially these high school kids. No matter how many people show up, and and I don't want to take anything away. That's why we're going at 2:30, so people can be out tailgating. If it's raining, they can come in and watch the game and everything. But I just believe that anytime you can play in front of people, it helps. Number 2, you see who gets nervous in front of people. And number 3, and maybe as important than everything, see what our conditioning is like, see how long we can go.
You gonna let Michigan fans in?
Yeah, I'll let Michigan fans in. They want to come in, they can come in. They can observe.
Tom, you kind of called out both Trey and Jeremy, saying hold them accountable to hold their other teammates accountable. Is this the process of a player-coach team being better than a coach-coach team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been really proud of Malik and Marty, and those guys have done a great job with Book. And Jeremy is just one of those guys that he's a leader, even this young and early in his age. But at the same time, sometimes you're going to let AJ take over because he's a freshman and a senior. But when he's got his team, he doesn't have to let anybody take over. He can take over. And probably Trey's played as well as anybody. He's shooting the ball so much better than he did a year ago. So that's been encouraging and fun to watch too.
You mentioned Cohen's playing a little bit before. Has it been that way since the beginning of practice, or just recently?
Just recently, We don't want to try to make him something of everything the first couple of weeks. We would rather get him homed in at the 3. Now that he's comfortable, we can add a few things at the 4. But it's confusing when a guy's got to play both positions. Thank God he's a pretty smart kid, and I think he will be able to.
Malik Hall doing all right?
Malik's been great. Absolutely 0 issues with his injury, which is, God bless, that's really encouraging. Been in good shape. Yeah, so I'm pleased with Malik.
And with Kohler, any idea, like, when you get into January, February, like how, like what's the prognosis in terms of like how long the recovery is going to be?
I think the recovery will be into December, to be honest with you. I think by, mid to later December, he'll be practicing, from what I understand. As we all know, it's different for everybody, but I think he'll be good, and he's down there shooting free throws now. So, in some ways, it can help him because I think these guys get a little worn down in the summer. I really do. I don't know how to take care of that, but I'll try to work on that for next year.
For him, because with a foot injury like that, he shed that weight. I would imagine that probably is going to help him.
Big time. Shed the weight. He's in better shape. He's in better condition. It's hard for me to sit here and be too positive about all my guys because it's just against my nature, my religion, and everything else. But I have been pleased with what they're doing. We'll see how they do as some of these pressure-packed moments get in. Or all of a sudden you're not playing as much, Do we hang our head? Do we get our job done? There's so many things to learn, and it's all part of the process. But it's a good process.
Sissoko with his added strength and mass, has that changed his game much at all?
I don't know what you saw, but I think it's changed his game enormously. I mean, Marty's been a completely different player than last year. He's great on the ball screens. He's under much more balance. He's done a good job of that. So Marty's been good. we're missing a few free throws, and we worked hard on it this summer, and he's got to continue to make his. Cause he and Cohen will get fouled, and I think those two guys right now haven't made the most free throws.
Thanks.
Comparison for Jeremy a little bit. I'm wondering, as a freshman point guard, sort of your level of demanding accountability for him, but also understanding he's going to have to grow and sort of where that.
Yeah, he's going to have to grow, but he can be coached.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't have no. You can get on Jeremy.
Yeah.
He can take it, and that's what I love about him. You know, he's not being babied at all. We don't plan on babying him. But the problem is, he doesn't make a lot of mistakes because he has a very high basketball IQ, and he plays hard. Those are what most kids get pushed and yelled at, I guess is the right word. You know, I get a kick out of people. I mean, the same people that question how I do things. If your son made the same mistake over and over and over and over again and acted like he didn't care, you'd probably do the same thing, you know. But people are funny. I ain't worried about Jeremy Fears. He can take it. All right, guys.